Hola, amigas. Welcome to another episode of Modern Latina in Midlife. This is a very quick little episode. I did not prepare for this. I just started processing some emotions out loud, and I thought, you know what, let me record this. And so I put this together. It's a very quick little episode about processing emotions and feeling the sadness that sometimes comes up during the holidays and the grief. And yeah, just a couple of pieces of advice that I have based on some reflection moments that I had this morning and as I recorded this episode. And also, I do want to remind you that I'm having my giveaway because it's going to be 1 year anniversary next week of this podcast. And I'm celebrating by doing a giveaway. I am giving away one 30-minute session. This is my midlife inner makeover session where we do energy clearing with intuitive guidance. And in this energy clearing, we can dive deep to remove a block that you're feeling. You can come in with something specific that you want to work on if you already have an idea of where your block is, or we can go in and just find what block needs attention in that moment. We dive deep to the root cause of that block, where it came from, where it was created. We work on it, we do some healing on it, we dismantle it, and then we get intuitive guidance as well, because I do this all with the help of your spirit guide teams, of your higher soul. So we tap into that. We tap into your intuition and we channel any messages that you need to hear around that particular block to help you move forward in your next steps, or any other messages that you may need to hear in that particular moment. So that giveaway is open right now. It will be open until December 4th. I will announce the winner on December 5th. I will link it to the show notes here. It's also on the link in my bio on Instagram at Modern Latina in Midlife. And I'm really looking forward to, yeah, to working with whoever wins this session. It's really a great honor to work with the people who come to me. It's been a beautiful experience, and I want to be able to share that with you. If you want to see what this is like, this is the perfect opportunity. Sign up completely for free. You can sign up to get one entry, and if you want additional entries, then you can tag your friends at the post, at the giveaway post that's on my Instagram, on any of the giveaway posts. Just tag your friends on that, and each tag will count as an additional entry. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this episode and that you take something away from it. Hola, hola, amigas. Buenos días. At the time of this recording, it is Thursday, November the 23rd, 2023. It's Thanksgiving morning, and as is celebrated in the United States. And I got up. I'm not hosting Thanksgiving this year, but I am taking a dish to the place where I will be gathering tonight with friends and loved ones. And so I went to the grocery store to get the things that I needed because I procrastinated and forgot to get the stuff that I needed. Should have been made last night, but whatever. So I was driving back from the grocery store, and all of a sudden I just got hit with the big sense of grief. And I very quickly realized that, I was feeling this sadness, and I just thought to myself, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling sad? I have so much to be grateful for. Um everything is, going well for me and my family and my life and my business. Just I just have so much joy, so much goodness happening for me that I just couldn't really understand why I was feeling this sadness. And I quickly realized that Thanksgiving reminds me of the day that my dad went in for his first chemotherapy session in 2015. That was the beginning of the end. And I know that he's in a better place and all that. Um, but that's the thing about grief, right? It comes in waves. You never know when it's going to hit you. And I'm just going to honor it. I'm just going to allow myself to feel these emotions because they need to be felt. We need to honor them. I need to honor them. I want to honor them. I want to never forget how much he meant to me, means to me. And there's just this void that will never be filled. They say that time heals all wounds, but I don't know that in this lifetime this wound will be healed. I think that this is a wound that will always be a little raw, will always be like just at the verge of being tapped, and it's spreads wide open. So I'm not going to high vibe it. I'm not going to practice, spiritual bypassing. I'm going to honor this. Here's the thing about not allowing ourselves to feel our emotions is when we don't allow ourselves to acknowledge them, to feel them, and to process them, to allow them to run through our bodies, whatever that means, whether it means you need a good cry sesh, whether it means you just need to be in bed or wallow, or if it means that you need to record it to share it with others, whatever that feels like to you, honor it. Because when we don't honor those emotions and allow ourselves to feel them and and therefore be processed, they get stuck in our body. They get stuck in our energetic body, our energetic aura, and then it becomes a bigger issue and a bigger issue and a bigger issue. If we leave that there long enough, if we allow ourselves to focus on that emotion, but not allow ourselves to process it, then it turns into like depression and other potentially mental health issues. It affects us emotionally, and then it becomes a physical ailment. And that's how energy works. I talked about in a previous episode, I think it was last week's episode, the episode about peeling back the layers and unblocking our blocks, releasing our blocks, through the help of energy work. That the body keeps score. Traumatic experiences that happen to us, when we don't process them, they stay stuck. They stay stuck, and then they become a big block. And depending on where it gets stuck, if it's in our throat, then it has certain constrictions of us speaking our truth, or not being able to share our messages, or start the podcast. If it gets stuck in the solar plexus, it affects our confidence. If it gets stuck in the basic chakra, it affects our security, our sense of safety, our finances, etc. But that's the thing. We need to allow those emotions to be felt, to be acknowledged, to name them if we can, to talk to it, to ask it, what do you need from me? Sometimes it just wants to be acknowledged. It wants to move through the body. And it's just weird, right? Like, I was just going about my day. I was just going about my day. In fact, I was thinking that I was going to jump on my Instagram stories to share a message that's been coming through lately in most of my sessions and in my meditation. And it's a sense of being present, especially through these holidays, being present. And if you're driving to the grocery store, because I was driving home, if I'm driving home, turn off the podcast. Give myself some time to give myself, for you also, to give yourself some time to be present in the thing that you're doing. If it's driving, drive. Pay attention. Look around. Look at the buildings. How much are we missing every day because we're just listening to something, distracted with something else, or allowing these ruminating thoughts to just run rampant through our heads? If you're doing the dishes, do the dishes. Pay attention to the soap. How is it, how is it bubbling up, the suds? How is it cleaning? Watch the water run through the plates and your hands, and watch the soap run off, and pay attention and be present. And it's in those present moments that we're going to hear what we need to hear. We're going to feel what we need to feel. So I was driving thinking, oh, I got to go share this. I got to go share this. And then it's like, like spirit hit me across the head and said, no, you need to feel these emotions. And this grief and sadness came over me. And I was sitting here processing that. And sometimes the way that I process is by speaking it out loud, almost as if speaking to my spirit guides or my higher soul. Like, I speak it out loud, and I was starting to speak, and I thought, you know what, let me record this and see if this is something that I need to share. And I realized, yeah, this is something that needs to be shared. So as we go into the holidays, I know that the holidays can be so triggering. for many who may have the family and spend their family with time with them, but stuff comes up, trauma comes up, childhood trauma comes up, drama comes up, and maybe you're triggered. Maybe you're not looking forward to the one person that you have to see or the conversations that may happen. Maybe you don't have family to go home to your birth family or the family that you grew up with. Maybe you don't have that available to you, and that can bring up sadness and grief as well. And so I want to acknowledge you and name it. Like, sometimes the holidays are sad. Sometimes the entire holiday season is sad. Sometimes we experience sad. What is that seasonal something disorder? I can't think of the acronym, and I did not prepare for this episode, so I would have looked it up, but that happens, where people experience depression or sadness, depending on the seasons. And it's a real thing. So I just want to jump on here and just share that this is common. This is normal. I tend to be a very happy and uppity and just, I don't want to say high vibe, but I'm always thinking positive, trying to change my mindset. But one thing I know for sure is that the sooner and faster that I allow my feelings to be felt and those waves of sadness and grief to process through my body, to move through my body, the faster they would leave too. So I want to just remind you of that. Allow yourself to feel it. And I haven't moved through this particular sadness and feeling of grief yet, but I will share an example of something that happened a couple of years ago. I was feeling great sadness because, I remember now. It was my first Mother's Day where I was not going to have my sons with me. And they're grown. They're in their 20s. I was going to see my younger son. I was going to see my younger son. He was living with his dad at the time, and I was going to see him for a short period of time that day. But my other son lives in another state, and I wasn't going to get to see him. And I was very upset. Very upset. I guess it was Mother's Day, and I expected something different that day. For whatever reason, my expectations led to my disappointment, because that's what happens. Expectations lead to disappointments. Don't expect things just because. And that was what happened for me that day. Is I had certain expectations of what I expected to see or hear that morning, and I didn't. And I was really upset, and I was really butthurt, and I was angry. And I just remember I was just thinking about me because it was Mother's Day, a Hallmark holiday. And I decided that I wanted to be treated or expected something specific that morning. So when I was feeling, honestly, just this anger and rage inside, I finally just gave in and allowed myself to just wallow in it, because I kept just going about my day and just spending time with my mom and just like trying to get my mind off of it. And it kept popping up, and I was enraged. I felt this big blob of like anger inside, and it even felt a little painful. I finally just went to my room. I sat on my bed and I allowed myself to cry. One of those ugly cries, like I was wailing. I grabbed my pillow and I just put my face in it and just cried loud, like a baby, like a child having a tantrum. I just allowed myself to cry and to scream and just like let my makeup get completely messed up and my mascara was running. And I just allowed myself to just cry and cry and cry. And I think I cried for I don't even know. Maybe it was 3 minutes. Maybe it was 5 minutes of just wailing. Maybe it was even less of just wailing, of just like ugly cry. And then I just laid there on my pillow, and those emotions just ran right through and left my body. And then I was able to think clearly and say, well, that's what you get, Sonia, for expecting something out of the blue, like making up this story of what you wanted and expected the universe to deliver that message to your sons telepathically, uh, for them to do XYZ that you expected. Wow. And it was a really great moment of reflection for me for two things. Number one, when we allow ourselves to feel our feelings and to name them and to honor them, they transmute much quicker. Um, there's a there's somebody, I don't know, I can't remember who, but I know my dear friend and former client Michelle Chalfant says this a lot. It takes 90 seconds for emotions, for a feeling to run through our body. When we allow it ourselves to feel it and to just process through, it takes 90 seconds for them to move through our body. And I think that that's what I thought in that moment. It's like, okay, let me give this a shot. So that I know that to be a fact now, that when we allow ourselves to feel them and honor them, that they run through our bodies much quicker. And the other thing it taught me was to quit making up stories. And that goes for myself, for what I was expecting. That goes for what other people do, what I think other people think, or other people are saying. It doesn't, number one, it's none of my business what other people think of me or say of me. It's none of my business. It's not about me. It's about them, their own reflection and their own perceptions about their own experiences and how they show up in the world. It has nothing to do with me. But yeah, it's to not make up stories. So oftentimes we think that we give ourselves more, how should I put this? I don't have the right language for this right now. I didn't prepare for this, but sometimes we give ourselves more, for lack of a better word right now, importance than than we really are, or that we really need to. Sometimes we think the world revolves around us, right? We think, oh, I'm going to post this and what, oh my gosh, everybody's going to think. No, nobody, not everybody's going to think. In fact, nobody's watching. Nobody cares what we post. Nobody cares if we didn't show up for a few days to social media. Nobody is really paying that much attention to us. So quit making up stories of what somebody else is thinking or what somebody else might be saying, or it's just we go making up so many stories about what we think other people are going to say, or what we think other people are thinking, and most of the time we're not even on their radar. It's not about us. So my advice for us all through these holidays is to be present, to allow ourselves to enjoy each moment, to be able to reflect on each moment so that we can hear the messages that we need to hear and feel the emotions that need to be felt. Number two, to feel the emotions that come through, allow yourself to dwell on it. Cry if you need to, scream if you need to, write if you need to, record it if you need to. Allow yourself to ugly cry and scream in a pillow if you have to. Let me tell you, it feels good. And number three, check in with yourself. Don't make up stories. Is this really about you? And that's it. That's all I have for today. I just wanted to share this as it was happening in the moment. And I hope that it will help somebody. Sometimes the holidays bring up sad emotions and sad memories. It's not all merry and bright all the time. And sometimes it's both at the same time, sad and happy. Thank you so much for being here on this journey with me and allowing me to share this message. And so eternally grateful for those who show up to listen to this podcast. It's not a big number right now, to be completely honest, but it's okay. I enjoy when people tell me they listened to the podcast and they found something helpful, and it's therapeutic for me. So thank you for being here. I hope that you find time and space to enjoy friends and family, and that you find time and space to be present and honor yourself and enjoy your own company as well. Hasta la próxima.